Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Burn This Podcast, the podcast by Burn This Records, featuring all of the Burn This Records artists as their albums come out. I am your host, Brandy Posey. You're hearing an episode, which means we have an amazing new album out. This one is from Kristin Lytie. It's out this Friday. It's called Disassociation Vacation. And if you like unions, horror movies, punk rock, you're going to love this album, and you're going to love my conversation with Kristin. You can get the album literally everywhere. Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon. Buy a copy. Enjoy the talk.
We don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn.
This podcast.
Oh my God, did you see what happened in Chicago this morning outside O'Hare?
No.
People shut down the Kennedy Expressway to get to O'Hare for Palestine.
Yes.
And they did like when you arms and you put the PVC pipe over your arms, they did that. I was like, whoa. Sometimes I miss living in Chicago when I see that kind of stuff.
No, Chicago goes hard for solidarity and for everything. It's really it's always been such an inspiring city to see that shit.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many times I thought I was going to get hit by a car. And it's funny to be like, oh, I miss it.
Yeah, of course. Oh, the good times. I mean, it's funny because like we're both like still punkers in our hearts who have like done a lot of shit, but I think you wouldn't know it from the outside. And I always think it's fun to like look back at like that version of myself that did have pink hair or like had like a big faux hawk or whatever that was like doing that stuff, to be like, I'm still doing it. It's just like my knees hurt a little bit more now and I do it differently.
Absolutely. I'm working on a new joke about how much I pay for insurance for things like glasses and teeth, So like when a pit breaks out, my first reaction is like, big step back.
Yes. I remember I went to like the Andrew WK 10-year anniversary of his first album show, and it was the most polite pit I've ever seen because it's like, oh, everybody in here has cracked a tooth in the last 10 years, and we know how much it costs, and we're not messing with it anymore.
Teeth are so expensive. It's too much.
I know. I had like a 20-minute conversation with Tess last night about teeth. It's just like, man, okay, all right, 40s are here, baby.
They are with a vengeance.
Yeah. Do you get up to any like union, like in-person union actions up in Green Bay?
There have been a bunch of like pro-Palestine events, but I'm always gone on the weekends, so I haven't been to too many. When I first moved back, we had a pro-immigration rally, and that we had like 500 people down by the river in Green Bay.
Nice.
Like they did this redevelopment where they built this really nice little scenic walking area. And, we have always been taking it over for protests now. So thank you, City of Green Bay, for building us that space.
Yes, we love a green space for the First Amendment. Thank you so much.
It's very pretty. It's scenic,
That's nice. Yeah, LA they just don't do the street cleaning that week. And they're like, yeah, march in your own filth. And you're like, we will. That's another thing we're protesting for. There's a lot. There's quite a few problems.
Love it.
I am happy to be home. I find people, they're pretty much the same everywhere you go, but there are little things that pop out as different. Like I was given directions the other day and I was like, oh yeah, you want to take 29 East till you hit the barn with opinions on abortion. I'm like, oh, that's a sentence I never said in Chicago once. There are a lot of fun billboards by me. There's a certain string of them, and they start out real nice, with a God loves you. I'm like, oh, thank you, okay. And then they escalate real quick into abortion kills, abortion stops the beating heart, abortion is murder. And then the last billboard, in all capital letters, just says, Jesus Christ. Like, I know, right? I'm just trying to drive here. There is one open mic in Green Bay. It's at a Christian coffee house. Yeah, and I'm an atheist, but I do love attention. So, I want to go and just show up and be like, guys, I was gonna do jokes, but I just feel so lost. If only there was some sort of higher power that could guide me. Like, convert me, daddy. I have found any Opalbees can be an open mic if you're loud enough, though. So. I have committed to Green Bay. I bought a house. I am the last house in America, apparently. Yeah. I almost didn't get my home loan, though, for 2 reasons. Number 1, there is another Kristin Lytie in Green Bay, and she loves to do crimes. And then the other reason I almost didn't get the home loan is because apparently sometimes when you want to buy a house, you have to write the seller a letter as to why they should pick you, you know? Yeah, and I'm just imagining all these letters coming in, like, me and my family want to fill this home with the sound of our children's laughter. And my letter would just be like, me and my cat want to do weird shit in your house. They picked me. They love a weirdo. Green Bay is so fun. All our riverfront property is prisons, coal piles, and graveyards. Yeah, it's like the city was gentrified by a sense of existential dread. And that is entirely my vibe, so it worked out well.
You're from Wisconsin. You moved down to Chicago for a number of years, where we met.
Yeah.
And then you moved back up to do union organizing up north again.
I moved 2008. Wisconsin was trying to pass an amendment to ban gay marriage, and they were also working on English-only ordinances in my county, and I worked against both those things. They both passed, so I kind of left Wisconsin with a broken heart, you know. But I spent a decade in Chicago and really learned a lot about direct action and how to influence decision makers. And I think one of my favorite stories from that is I was volunteering at a workers' center. It's part of the National Day Labor Organizing Network that works with undocumented folks. And I got there, like my first day, we were talking about wage theft and how to recover lost wages. And I was talking to B, Lowell, the director, and I was like, so how do we do it? Is there some sort of like government form we fill out? And how do we get these wages back? And he was like, we get a big group of people and we go to the person's house and we don't leave till we get the money. And I was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah.
But that person wishes there was just a form.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, Chicago is really good for expanding the possibilities of what can be and what people can do.
So what brought you back up to Green Bay then?
Yeah, so 2017 was sort of a pivotal point in my life. I had gotten divorced, gotten sober, and gotten a new hip replaced. And I was kind of looking around Chicago and the work I was doing. Well, I really enjoyed it. And, I love Chicago. After the Trump election, especially as a white person, it just felt really critical to be in rural areas. Yeah. And, I always had this little vision in my heart of going home and trying to organize there. So it just felt like the right moment. And then I saw that the teachers union was hiring. So I kind of jumped on that. Because the Koch brothers, who destroyed public sector unions here in Wisconsin, I've got a long history with them. And so it's always kind of been like...
That's the ex-husband, right?
Oh, gross.
No, I know, I'm kidding. You have a long history with the Koch brothers, so non-romantic.
Yeah, they own all our mills. They destroyed our public unions here. And when I was working for the graduate employees at the University of Illinois, Chicago, they were buying up the departments and deciding which professors could teach there. Mm-hmm. And it just really hit me how much of a resource public education is and how we have to protect it and defend it. So it felt like the right moment and the right cause.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think especially after seeing like what's happened with education, like COVID and everything too, it's just like it's always been so important. And I think it's just that it's made bare more and more as it's stripped away. If you have friends that are teachers, everyone should be supporting them and getting in the streets with them too. Like LAUSD here in LA had like a big action a few years ago that it was very awesome to see like every other union come out and support them too, because I think a lot of people realized, how, especially in a city like LA where like a lot of people like didn't end up going to college, like their primary education was the thing that mattered to them the most, and like those high school teachers and shit like is the shit that made the most impact on them. These people shouldn't be struggling as our housing costs and every cost goes up.
Absolutely. And COVID really showed us like public schools are one of the last social safety nets. And it's supposed to be the space where everyone gets the same fair deal and, the same resources are available to them. So in that way, it's really beautiful.
Where does comedy fit in, like with organizing? Like what came first? Did one like push you towards the other?
Well, I've always loved comedy, but never really thought of it as something I could do. Humor was always just sort of a defense mechanism. I think I went to like 5 different elementary schools, so I was always the new kid. So I felt like if I can make people laugh, then maybe they won't fight me. I don't know.
the fastest way into someone's heart.
Yeah. And then it became a de-escalation tool. Like I know if I'm on a picket line and I can make someone laugh, that I can de-escalate a situation and get them to think more openly about the situation. But yeah, it wasn't until I think it was like 3 years in, and it's just, when I was studying to do this job and preparing to go into this work, no one ever told me like, no one calls you because they're having a good day. People will call the cops on you. People will threaten violence. People will tell you their most traumatic events, and you have to bear witness to all of that and find a way to like be there and not marinate in it, And so then I started going to comedy shows and getting really obsessed with it and just kind of watching this whole room full of people laugh. And then just having this idea of like, what if you did that? And it kind of became this balance to the organizing work.
Yeah.
And, it really made me feel fueled so I could go out into the world and continue to do my work.
It's funny because we were talking about teachers. I think I know a lot of teachers that also do comedy, not in a way that they even necessarily ever want to go pro, but they just need that steam valve of like, I need to be able to just say whatever I want because of all the frustrations and like, the demands of my regular job. Because it's anything that is like dealing with the public and socially, social issues. It's like you are just being. People are coming to you with problems all day long,
Absolutely. And if you're a good organizer that doesn't have like a martyr complex, some of us do. If you're a good organizer, you're all about elevating the other person's story and cause. And if you're good at it, it's like you were never there. So once I kind of started to wrap my head around that, it was like, oh, well, I need a space for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a ghost. I'm real. I am real and deserve my words in a microphone that are mine too.
Yeah. And this felt like a way to do that wouldn't, possibly negatively interact with anything I was working on. I will admit though, sometimes I do crowd work brain in meetings. I've gotten better about turning that off, but
yeah. It's a nice skill to have in your back pocket, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes. I got to remember to put that work filter on.
Yeah. There's been moments where I'm like, I'm happy that I have this in my back pocket. I just need to know when to utilize or when not. Like, or even if it's just for myself. Like I remember when my mom passed away, I had to do the eulogy, and I just like didn't really know how to start. So at the top of what I had written, I just wrote "riff on priest" just as a joke for myself. It was just like as I walked up, I was like, "Thank you for the bit, past Brandy. Appreciate it."
Oh man, that's great. That's really great. I do remember once I was at a funeral and the priest made just like this minuscule joke. And of course, because it's breaking the tension, it got like
big
howls of laughter. And in my mind, I was like, that's lazy writing.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I know. The downside to being a comic where you're just like, well, I know what you did. And you could have been better. Yeah.
And it was cheap.
It was funny. Not that long ago, I was touring through Arkansas, and I thought the crowds there would like not be keen to my politics, But they loved that. After each show, we talked about how to start unions at their workplaces. And, male comics after shows get what we call chuckle fuckers, which are, women wanting to have sex with them. I get people that want to talk about FMLA, but I'm like, it's 2023. Where are my chuckle fuckers? Just kidding. I'd rather talk about FMLA. But yeah, so they loved all the union stuff, but like the Catholic stuff, they were like, no, we do not appreciate that brand of sad voodoo down here. You get back up north. I was like, Okay, interesting. Didn't know that. Did anyone here have to go to Catholic school? Oh, a couple hand raises. Yeah, still programmed in there. Yeah. Oh, man. I remember third grade, we were working on this little art project. We're all kneeling around the table, kneeling as Catholics love to do. And I turned to the nun and said, "Sister, my knees hurt. Could we get up and be done?" And she said, "No. In fact, I want you to think of all the pain Jesus Christ went through for you." I was like, shit. I'm just trying to draw a horse, I didn't talk much the rest of the year. Then I got lice. And now I'm an atheist. Catholic school. Oh, man. I did go back and forth a bit between public school and Catholic school. One's always talking about God. One's always talking about periods. I was like, which one's real? And I'd soon find out because they separated the boys and the girls so we could each go have our own individual sex ed spiel, right? And when we came back together, the boys were all laughing and high-fiving about wet dreams, erections, and just how much fun it is to have a dick. And the girls all had looks on their faces like veterans who'd just come from active duty. Is there a petition we could sign? We could get out of this.
You have a lot of bits on the album about you went to Catholic school and terrorized and were terrorized by nuns.
Yes.
What's your relationship with all that shit now?
Yeah, I'm actually quite envious of people who have faith in their lives. I don't. I thoroughly believe it's a tool used to oppress people. But
yeah.
I do I wish I believed in hell because it would be so satisfying to know bad people were going there. But yeah, I'm pretty much I'm an atheist. Sometimes I swing a little agnostic, but yeah. I joke that I'm like a godless commie, so
yeah, I'll track what the moon's doing sometimes. And that's kind of like the closest I have to real religion where I'm just like the eclipse happened and I was like, yeah, people are getting real weird. I believe in the sun and the moon. I don't know.
Don't make any major decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Like when a retrograde does happen, I'm like, all right, I do like that this is a time to just take a pause and reflect. And I think it's just like nice to take a moment to be reminded to be more mindful about stuff. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 40 in LA. People have given me a lot of crystals. I can't throw them away.
Yeah, I will say, I really love mindfulness. A lot of the teachers I work with have taught me about that and just self-reflection and, space to meditate. I love stuff like that. I think anything on the self-improvement spectrum is great.
It's interesting. I read, have you read Naomi Klein's Doppelganger book yet?
I just finished it. Yes. Oh my God.
It's so good. I love her. For the listener, amazing writer. Read all of her shit. I think she's so great. But the chapter on self-help, the gurus of the wellness space was so interesting to me. Just seeing that the how quick it can darkly turn to a personal fascism was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, that whole wellness to QAnon pipeline is such a wild ride. And Naomi Wolf, I had no idea Naomi Wolf had gone off the deep end.
Yeah, no, definitely just completely took. But it's so interesting because it's when everything is tied to capitalism at a certain point, we see it in comedy. You see people that can't make it on a certain path. They're like, well, the money's to the right. And that I'll just follow that. It's
she had such an insightful thought on how if we do not critique neoliberalism, we as individuals will not understand solidarity and the power of working together to achieve better societal gains. We'll always be fighting one another. And this idea of the boss girl, that's where that really proliferated, this kind of get yours mentality.
Yep.
Yeah, I absolutely love Naomi Klein. She reading No Logo in like I think it was the 90s.
Yeah.
That kind of, I was punk rock as a teenager and whatnot, but that I felt like gave me like real agency in thinking that way. Like, oh yeah, smart people agree with this.
Yeah. No, totally. Because I think there is like a moment in punk where like you can kind of stay like a music fashion punk, or you can actually like embrace the ethos. And then that becomes like a massive part of your life. When you actually start like reading lyrics, especially like, I'm more of a ska kid. Like I am a punk kid, but like I'm a ska kid at my true heart. And like looking at like the history of like second wave and like the riots and stuff that was all a part of too, and especially like Jamaica and everything where first wave came out of. It's just seeing how political all of that was and really just taking it in. I mean, I grew up in DC, so politics were kind of just always around, but in such a weird way. Like my next door neighbor was a Secret Service guy for George Bush. So you would
Oh,
just like,
wow.
yeah, you would just like see him on camera and you'd be like, oh, my neighbor could die. Weird. I mean, don't take the bullet. But Colin's sick that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was funny too. Like I really loved like the Dead Kennedys when I was a preteen, and it was just funny to like hate Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, but also be like 12 and have no idea who they really were.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I remember having like, yeah, just like Reagan shirts with eyes X'd out. Like as a child, my dad's like, I voted for that guy. You can't wear that shirt. Like, do you even know? And I was like, I know the people that I trust hate him, and I'm figuring it out. And I eventually
and now
will know why.
Yeah, now we've all collectively figured out trickle-down economics was a scam.
Yeah, exactly. They're just playing the same playbook over and over and over again. And Reagan, oof. Google Iran Contra.
That too. Damn.
Things you don't hear on a comedy podcast enough, frankly.
Yeah, so I'm also a sober person, approaching 6 years, no alcohol. Thank you. Your polite applause feels just as good as getting drunk used to. It doesn't. No, I appreciate the love, though. Like, some people, when they find out I don't drink, they get very uptight. I was at this conference, and I was chatting with a lady, and we were hitting it off, and she revealed to me that in her coffee cup was wine. And she offered some, and I was like, nah, I don't drink. And she got real uptight. I'm like, yeah, I don't drink, but I'm not a narc, That joke is called Barbara from Montana. My quitting drinking, it wasn't like court-ordered or anything, but, there were a few moments along the way that provided space for me to reflect upon my own actions. Yeah, number one was woke up with a tattoo. Whoops. A lot of my friends are like, Kristin, everybody does stupid shit when they're young. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I was 37. Has anyone here ever woken up with a tattoo? Oh, I saw a little hand here. What did you wake up with?
Burn it down.
A what?
Burn it down.
Burn it down. Fuck yeah. Got a militant drinker over here. I like it. That's fun. A lot of times I'll do a show and no one says anything, and then it's just, ooh, look at us. We don't have a problem. I like that. I woke up with a pentagram tattoo. Yeah, because apparently I'm very metal when I black out. Who knew, right? Am I in a cult now? I don't know. I'm busy. I do a lot of things. Don't worry about it. And then the other thing that happened is I said the phrase, I didn't start this fight, but I'll fucking finish it. At the farmer's market. But like, don't cut in line, I will cut a bitch. Yeah, so sober dating. Wow, that's a new level of hell. Yeah. I joined soberandsingle.com up in Green Bay, and it was just me. I took myself up to Olive Garden. It was a nice time. Yeah. I used to drink, just turns out alcohol was doing most of the heavy lifting on dates, right? My motto was drink till he's fun. Or you black out, which is also the Wisconsin state motto, if you didn't know. But it's harder, right, if you don't drink? Because if you do drink and you like someone, you can say, hey, you want to get a drink? We all know what that means, right? That's good. That's inviting. I don't have that. What comes out of my mouth is something more like, do you want to go somewhere that's not here with me? Alone? Oh, that sounds like a make a suit out of his skin, And I did grow up in Wisconsin, where we have a rich, rich tradition of turning people into meals and furniture. So we love an arts and crafts project.
You're really into horror movies.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just saw Civil War. So good.
Really
interesting. Yeah.
Feels like horror movies have gotten like more heady over the last like decade or so. There's obviously still like your schlocky stuff, but there's more critically acclaimed things that have come out lately.
Yeah, I absolutely will see anything A24 makes.
Yeah.
I am indebted to them forever, I feel like. Also, when the writer's strike was happening, A24 was like one of the first production companies to be like, yeah, absolutely, we can meet all those demands. And I was like, see, this is why I love you guys. But yeah, I do feel like horror has moved more towards like the interpersonal relationships and kind of like the horror of everyday life, which maybe that's reflective of society right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do really enjoy the more like psychological horror, things like The Babadook and Civil War was just phenomenal. And, I really love this new trilogy Ty West is putting out, Pearl, X, and Maxine, kind of about the chase for stardom that, hits a little close to home in the comedy community, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, there's some horror movies to be made about stand-up for sure. Yeah. It's a haunted, parts of it are very haunted just themselves.
Yeah, I guess I love horror so much because I feel like it's the other end of the spectrum of comedy, and you can still use it as a tool to like get people to think about a situation in a new way.
Mm-hmm. No, totally. That makes a lot of sense. Because it is like, it's also like a scream or a laugh is like a gut reaction. Like those are maybe the only two like reactions we have that we don't have control of, I think, necessarily.
Yeah. And I love being in a movie theater with people for a horror movie. Like it does kind of feel similar to a comedy show sometimes, like the very uncontained reactions sometimes make it such a fun experience.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. What was like your horror gateway drug?
Yeah, well, when I was little, my grandpa owned a video store. I would watch kind of anything I wanted, and so I'd always like peruse all the boxes. My favorites, first off, were like trauma movies. Like one of the first movies I remember seeing was Bloodsucking Freaks, and I also really loved Night of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I loved the scandal of it, I guess, like how disgusting and gross, and oh my gosh. It just felt so out of this world. It was kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think that there's a point like when you're a young girl that you can become like a horse girl or a horror girl. Like that is like that's a roads diverged moment.
Yeah, my family didn't have money to be a horse girl, so I guess this makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I knew some poor horse. They just had photos of horses all over. Like I had a couple of girlfriends that were in school that I was like, have you even met one? They're fine. A horse is fine. They're scared of you.
Yeah, see, I never understood the attraction to horses, but perhaps that's because I grew up right next to a farmer's field and cows were, not that fun.
They're just out there. You look at them and you're like, do you even know you're alive? Someone will get mad at me for saying that.
Yeah.
You recorded this in Austin at the Altercation Comedy Festival last year. Shout out to JT Habersat. JT,
Mhm.
we know you're listening, or if you're not, awkward.
You said we're friends, man.
Yeah, exactly. How did that all come about? Like, talk to me about your feelings about everything with the recording.
Yeah, honestly, if it weren't for JT, I don't think this would exist because I had come into some money last year and I was joking around with him about, oh, haha, should I have a midlife crisis? That might be fun.
Hmm.
And he was like, no, you should record an album at my festival and put it out on vinyl. And I was like,
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
okay.
sure. And he's someone who's just like, he's such a good friend and like
Hmm.
comedy mentor. I probably would have quit comedy a long time ago if I hadn't met him.
Oh.
Just because at that point I didn't make the connection that comedy is much like music and that there's multiple genres and there's like the punk rock vein where you
Hmm.
know, you're saying something that isn't exactly in line with mainstream audiences, but you find your people. And because of that, I stayed in comedy and kept doing what I was doing. And yeah, he's always someone that's just really rooted for me and given me opportunities and made me feel really good about what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the point about different genres in comedy, I think is so important because it's like that is so true. And I wish that it was comedy itself was bigger so we could kind of like push those genres more. Because you meet so many
Yeah,
people that they're like, oh, I don't like comedy. And I'm like, no, 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 you just haven't found the comedy that you like. Because I mean, for me growing up, most mainstream comedy I saw on TV, like I just was like, I don't want those people aren't my peers. I don't want to know a bunch of bros in backwards baseball caps. Like I don't that doesn't feel like who I want to spend my time with. And
yeah,
then I remember moving to LA and seeing more alty stuff, like more like Maria Bamfordy, like Paul F. Tompkins, like Patton, and like I was like, oh, these are like weirdos that actually do have interests that I'm into. Then you start meeting people that are younger that are doing that kind of stuff, in our generation, and it's been rad like touring around the country meeting people like you and JT and like Zach and like a lot of people and Dwight, like people on the label where it's like that's who I'm trying to feature and like work together to be like, hey, this is if you like one of us, you probably will like all of us, and we're all cool good people who are funny and are not pedophiles, and
that is
yeah,
our promise to you.
that is our promise to you. We will entertain you and not be pedophiles. And that is not as much of a given as you would think in comedy. So, but yeah, it's like we're just trying to like raise each other up because like when you do come from this like punk rock ethos, I've found at least like I forget so many people in comedy don't have that mentality. And then I'll be like, oh, how are you doing this if you don't think this way?
Absolutely. I came to comedy with a very organizing mindset and
Mhm.
found out that was quickly not the case with a lot of my peers.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I've definitely had some people in LA who have been like, "Why? Why are you start? I don't get it." And I'm like, "Because it helps everybody. Rising tide, all ships. Like
Absolutely.
that's just the way it is. Like let's all do what we can for each other. Why not? It feels good to like cheer on other people like truly of yourself and like everyone's one person's victory is everyone's victory. Like it's
Absolutely. And when you find people with similar values and goals, it just makes sense to build that community.
exactly. And like there's otherwise it's like what you're just going to be like sitting on your couch watching your own appearance on one late night. There's not that many late night shows left. You know what I mean? So it's like you have one moment of joy in your life. Like, okay, I like, you can create them for other people and feel that and like get out of your scarcity mindset. And like comedy's not a finite resource. If anything, it's like one of the most things that everybody can do. And like, why not be lifting people up?
Absolutely. And in chatting with you before any of this even came into fruition, I just really felt I know we had like been in the same circles a little bit more like acquaintance, but getting to
Yeah.
know you and what you're all about, it just made me even more excited about the project that this is part of a community of people that I think are doing great things.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's like I got a text last night from Cam O'Connor who was hanging out with Dwight and Jason Eason out of Huntsville, Alabama. And Jason, spoiler alert to the listener, we're recording later this year. Um
Cool.
And they were like, Cam just was like, I'm just really happy that everyone is just coming together in some way online, and it's just very cool to see. And I was like, oh man, thanks, Cam.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's just like, it's fun. I think like the internet, I think, can feel keeping up with the Joneses, all that shit. But then when you really are like, no, I like genuinely am like proud of other people. Like that's a mindset that will make you more powerful and more fearless. And like that's how you should enter comedy, I think, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't need to hear more jokes about how people hate their wives.
No. Go to therapy.
Just go to therapy.
You know what the weirdest part is? When you see that and then you see the wife sitting in the front row, just like, I love him.
Yeah. You go to therapy too.
Ma'am, therapy separately and together. Let a professional tell you to leave.
Like, I wanted my name to be, more than anything, I wanted it to be Heather.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Come on, yeah, we've seen every 80s movie. We know Heather. Heather drives a Corvette. Heather is hot. Heather is a real cool slut. Yeah. There any Heathers here tonight? Yep. No, they're out doing cool slut shit. Except for you, sorry. Oh, man, there's no Heathers in my family, no Brittany's, Tiffany's, nothing like that. I come from a long line of sturdy Midwestern women, yeah. In my family, we have Agnes, Bernice, Martha. You break into Martha's house, you're not coming out. And like, I was just born with this body, you know? In 5th grade, me and my mom shared clothes. That shouldn't have happened. Every photograph of me as a little kid, I'm just leaning in like a little linebacker. Like, what you got? Let's do this. Once, as an adult, while having sex with a man, he said, "You're so strong. You're like an ox." It's like, okay, sexy time is done because my vagina just sealed itself shut. And, I'll just go fully intimate with y'all. I was born with the rack of a 40-year-old woman. Yeah. All the little girls I went to school with, they had tits. And I had tits. Just didn't seem fair. I got to see their bras that they changed into during gym class. And they're all like pink and cute and frilly with hearts. I got taken to a seedy back room of Kohl's. There's an elderly woman with a cigarette out of the corner of her mouth, like, "Bring me the device!" She brought that shit out. It's beige, wires, hooks, so many hooks. And then she put her little elderly foot on my back, put one arm through each of the loops, and hiked it up, and I've been wearing it ever since. It's more of a back brace, really. And the thing is, 2017, I got divorced, and I entered this nightmare hellscape of online dating y'all have been in for a while, where men just ask for nudes out of nowhere. And this one guy was like, well, how about a tasteful pic of you in your bra? It's like, it is the same bra your grandma wears. You will feel conflicted about that erection, my friend. I am trying to be more ladylike as I get older. It's hard though. Like in my teens and 20s, I was a real crust punk cutie. I got this tattoo in a basement when I was 16. Yeah, yeah, very fun. People ask like, "Kristin, what does your tattoo mean?" I'm like, it means my parents weren't paying attention. I used to cut my own hair, have a septum ring, an artist, right? So now I like to go to Ulta and learn how to do makeup from teenagers. It's a very fun time. Yeah. Last time I was there, a lady was teaching me about moisturizer, contouring, and other wizardry. And we were having so much fun. We were talking about movies and music, and the products were just going in the little cart. So excited, so fun. And as I was leaving, I was like, we got along really well. I should give her my phone number. I think we could be friends. And then it dawned on me in that instant, I felt like every man at a strip club ever. Yeah, we're not friends. That's capitalism. Shit. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is hard to imagine this woman before you dressed like a militant toddler doesn't know the ways of makeup and...
Your artwork is amazing on this thing. Who did this, by the way?
Oh, yes. This was done by Christy Rhodes, who is a phenomenal punk rock artist out of California. They've done artwork for Microcosm, Green Zine. They were actually someone who, when I was, late teens, early 20s, kind of figuring out who the hell I was as a person, if I saw their artwork on the cover of a zine, I knew it would have radical politics I identified with and would be good. So I reached out to them and was just like, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. Do you want to be a part of it? I was fully expecting not to get a response at all because, like, they're pretty much famous. Like, they've done art for Green Day and all this stuff. And they responded. They were like, absolutely, let's do it. So I was like, oh, you're so cool.
It's amazing. It's an extension of like the punk rock ethos in the art world, I think, too, where it's like, that's the kind of stuff that they're doing work for, that they're just like, yeah, no, I want to lift up more people like this. Like, our logo was done by this guy Titty Bats that I know from Fest, and I'd hit him up to be like, I just love your style. I'll, pay you whatever. And he's like, no, I've seen you perform for me for free lots of times. Yeah, I got you. It's fine. And I was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, that's so fucking cool. Like, that's the way it can be. That's the way it should always be in everything. It's possible.
Agreed. It's like when you meet comedians that are just out for themselves, it's just such a terrible experience.
Truly it is. And I feel bad for them more than anything, because I'm like, you're not gonna be happy. You're just gonna be paranoid about not getting the next thing. And you look at everybody as an adversary, like, oh God, we already know who the adversaries are. We already know who they are, and we have to deal with them enough. But to include everybody in that, take it easy.
Absolutely.
You're amazing. I'm so happy that I'm
You're amazing.
Just a little love fest. I'm just so happy that, like, I'm stoked that, like, I've gotten to know you better through this process, and like I get to put your album out, and it's so freaking funny, and like just touches on so many things. Like, I was at the taping, and there's so many things that I was like, yes, fully in line with it. It just made me so happy.
Thank you.
It's called Disassociation Vacation. It's available for pre-order everywhere now. It's available everywhere April 26th. So if you listen to this after that, pick it up. And where can everybody find you online, Kristin?
My website is kristinlytie.com. And then on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's just Kristin Lytie. I was not creative at all in my naming.
No, honestly, better. Because the number of times I've had to be like, it's Brandazzle to a stranger is weird. So you made the right choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, follow Kristin on everything. And
and then this July, I'm having a bunch of Burn This Records folks come as part of our Punk Rock Music Fest here in Green Bay. That is the GBUFO Fest. So we'll have 3 days of punk rock and comedy shows as well. Brandy's coming too.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm so excited. That's going to be a freaking blast. Yeah, follow everything Burn This Records on the old Instagram, on the website, on Bandcamp. The album is available everywhere. Buy it. Why don't you? All right. We'll talk to you next time, guys. Bye.